Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Sweet Spot. This is your host, as always, Ryan Embry. Thank you for joining us. We are here in the content creation studio in Maitland, Florida, at our Travel Media Group headquarters, and have another fantastic edition of our Sweet Spot Spotlight series. This time with a fantastic property that we're going to be showcasing. And in with me today to talk about this beautiful property is Jennifer Curtin, the general manager of the Beatrice. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me on the Sweet Spot.
Good morning, Ryan. Thank you so much. Really happy to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, and we're going to get to the Beatrice and your beautiful property here in a second. But as we do with all of our new guests, this is your first time to the Sweet Spot. Uh, Talk to us a little bit about your background and hospitality journey that led you to the Beatrice.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to. And actually, it's quite a full circle story that I have. So my career actually started right here in Providence, Rhode Island. I attended Johnson& Wales University, majoring in hotel management, and that's actually located just steps from the Beatrice Hotel. And so this is where I started. I was working in multiple different operations through school. So I worked with Hilton Hotels. I worked in a luxury residential community here in Providence. And then in the summers, I used to live on Cape Cod, and I worked at an amazing, it was a five-star resort, Chatham Bars Inn, down on the Cape. And so, really, for me, throughout school, I wanted to get exposure in multiple different operations and environments and really get a sense of what it is that I wanted to choose for a path outside of college. And so, for me, it was really that luxury boutique space. That's really where my heart lies. And so, upon graduation, I started with Kimpton Hotels, first in Boston, Mass, which is home for me. So, that was a natural starting point, and then from there, I moved with them to Aspen, Colorado, and then to Seattle, Washington. And it was when I was in Washington, Seattle, that I got the call and moved back to open the Beatrice again, back here in Providence, Rhode Island.
I'm sure that was such an exciting call to be called back to your hometown where it all started, and you went to school for hospitality, which I will tell you, of all the hospitality industry experts that we interview on this series and others, it's rare, but I'm seeing more and more of it. I mean, you're talking to another grad of a hospitality management program down here at UCF. More and more people are going to school to get into our industry, which is amazing because most of the time you're going to hear people say, well, I just fell into the industry, or I was doing a job in college and fell in love with the industry. So it's so great to see and hear stories like yourself, Jennifer, where, you knew you had a passion for it, but also finding and having a journey within it and finding a segment and space that you really that you really cared about. And the fact that you got to do it in your own backyard, I'm sure also benefits you because you know a lot about the local area.
Absolutely. No, it's wonderful. And I will say, I'm very fortunate to have Johnson Wales right in our backyard for the Beatrice, because that is where the majority of our recruiting stems from. There's nothing better than hiring, a college student who is, motivated and passionate about this industry and is, coming to work and really putting what they learn in the classroom into motion in real life. It really makes everything kind of start to click. So we're really fortunate in that way.
Yeah, what an opportunity too for them to see and learn from you, a graduate from there, and can see what the possibilities are of a career in hospitality is, which we've been battling this staffing shortage now for a couple years. To hear more inspiring stories like that certainly helps more and more people get into our industry, which we love so much. So let's talk about your passion, the Beatrice, the property that we're going to be spotlighting today. And again, if this is your first time hearing or listening to this podcast in the series specifically, the Sweet Spot Spotlight series is all about highlighting some of the most unique historic hotels in our industry across the country. We've been up to New York City, internationally down to Mexico. We've been down to Miami. So here in this episode, we're visiting Providence, Rhode Island at the Beatrice. Share with us the story, the unique, rich story of the Beatrice, and Beatrice Timken, for whom the property is named for.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, so this property is the building itself is historic. So we're located right in the heart of Providence, Rhode Island, specifically the financial district. And so the location is amazing. The building was actually the original 1887 Exchange building. And so to bring this hotel to life, the full building was renovated right down to the core. And it was really intentional that the historic elements of the building were retained and restored. That's really important to all of the development that Paleo Properties does, and really important to really the city of Providence as a whole. We're very mindful of that in all the construction. So retaining that historic charm, but also really bringing the elevated and modern hotel and building to downtown that it was really seeking and needing. So it was a really exciting project to be a part of. The namesake, Beatrice Temkin, I mean, she was such a prominent person right here in the Providence, Rhode Island community, very well known. She was known to be just ahead of her times. As an example, I mean, she championed and led an AIDS foundation in the 70s. That was just, the type of person that she was. She was known to be elegant, sophisticated, in tune with all the little details. And so she is a remarkable person to have this hotel named after. And really, it's front of mind for us in every decision that we make, that her elegance and her sophistication is carried through. And so you'll see that in everything from the decor, the style of the hotel, the elevated amenities that we chose to have in all the guest rooms and throughout the public spaces. And then, of course, in the level of service that we deliver. I mean, attention to detail, she wouldn't skip a beat. And so we're very mindful of that. And that's what we're very focused on with the team, and making sure that that's the level of service that we provide and execute every day.
Yeah, it's so cool that you have kind of that intersection of history and obviously the story of Beatrice Timken as well. That you can tell your guests, you can tell your associates and employees to kind of serve them moving forward as they get to know the property and as they become more and more involved in the property. I'm sure it's something that is really cool to, like I said, just be immersed in that history. We've had a couple of new build properties on this Spotlight series. Obviously, everyone likes the shiny new toy, but there's something about that just rich history in a building like the Beatrice that when you first come in, you can feel it,
Mhm.
and it's kind of a feeling that sticks with you during the entire experience. And it's something that I think we've come to appreciate more and more as for travelers is um, we're more immersed into that story. We're more invested into the story of a building, the story of your namesake over
Mhm.
there at the Beatrice. So, but all of this can't be done without sharing that story. And it's so critical to share your story online. One of the places that I think your property, Jennifer, does an excellent place. You've got a wonderful website. Is this Be About the Town section of your website? Talk to us a little bit about because these are essentially guides for all types of travelers. Talk to us a little bit about the thinking behind these guides
Mhm.
and what it does to help get your guest immersed in the experience.
Yes, absolutely. These guides are something I'm really proud of. They're loaded right onto our website, and so they're there and accessible for our guests when they're at the decision making stage. And something I'm very mindful of, and you kind of touched on this, but checking into a beautiful new hotel with all the amenities, amazing service, clean guest rooms, it's really just not enough today.
Yeah.
Nowadays, travelers, they're really looking to feel like they're immersed in the location that they're traveling to, living like a local. And so for us here in Providence, that really takes coming together as a community. We have the amazing hotel that we, can confidently have our guests check into, but it's more. It's beyond our four walls. It's about getting them in and around Providence so that they really can head home and feel like they experienced it all, and they know what it's like to be a local here in Providence. And so that's really what we utilize these guides to do, is really build partnerships and be a part of our community with all the businesses, all the chambers, all the travel destination organizations, and really come together as a community and know that it takes all of us to come together to really be succeeding. And so I spend a lot of time working with the local businesses, in coming up with different packages and programming so that our guests can check in and they can experience, if they book our water fire package, they can experience a VIP experience floating down, the river in a gondola. And, they can go up to a local glass blowing studio with our friends and partners that gather glass, and walk away with custom made glassware and really feel like they've seen and done everything here in Providence, Rhode Island, which is so important to us. And so we use these guides to really promote and put that bug in someone's ear about what they can do to travel here to Providence, Rhode Island, and really continue to put Providence on the radar as a destination that can be a fun getaway for people to come to.
Yeah, they're absolutely wonderful, and they're also personalized, right? We've been hearing a lot about that in our industry, personalization of the guest experience. So you've got a guide that talks about, you know, people traveling with their pets, right?
Mhm.
That in itself, logistically, there are some nuances to that, and for you to be able to share maybe a local dog park or groomers nearby or something like that, that's something that the guest then doesn't have to think about, worry about, and it's coming from a trusted expert, a
Mhm.
local from your team, to be able to share that. It's all part of the guest experience, even before that traveler steps foot in your lobby. Something we talk about on this podcast all the time about how that the experience is now blending more and more to online and the search, and you can start impacting how that guest feels about your property prior to them putting the key card into the room, right? Which I think is what you're saying, where it's become more now. It can't just be a clean room, and a hot shower, right?
Right.
Which was the old phrase. So, and mission accomplished on your end, Jennifer, because the Beatrice has earned some really impressive recognitions. You guys are number one hotel on still one of the most trusted sources of guest feedback, TripAdvisor. Number six in the entire Northeast for the Condé Nast Traveler Awards. Can you speak a little bit about these recognitions and the effort that you and your team are putting forth to earn them?
Yes, absolutely. These accolades and these rankings are something we're so proud of, and I will say, it's a result of the hard work and the dedication that goes in from the entire team every single day. The biggest thing about winning these awards is you really have to deliver consistently. So it is delivering amazing, exceptional service to every guest every single day. And so that's where it gets challenging, is that consistency. And so being able to have that is what really has these accolades follow, and really give the recognition to that hard work that goes in every single day from our entire team. So we're really proud of these, and for us it's also about not getting complacent. This industry, it moves very quickly. There's always new things, there's always new trends. And so what worked last year might not work this year.
Yeah.
Or, what was relevant 6 months ago, it might already start to phase itself out. And so really being relevant, being innovative, you really have to kind of be a little bit ahead of the curve, or
You
ahead
do.
of the
Yeah.
time, back to Beatrice. So we're really focused on that, implementing new things that we're seeing kind of trending in the market, if you will, or maybe even ahead of a trend. So we're working on a few different projects right now, one being a wellness menu. And so
Right.
wellness being a huge focus in everyone's lives right now, finding ways to have a curated menu of whether it be pillows or sleep enhancements, whether it's a sound machine or a diffuser. So a few different things. And back to, you used a word that I love, personalized. We are always trying to personalize our guest experience. And so that's really where you take a hotel from being just meeting the mark, clean, all the amenities. But once you start to personalize it, and that's when you can really take it to the next level. And these accolades, are a testament to exactly that. And that goes in every single day from the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where a hotel stay becomes an experience that sticks with you, right? Is that personalization. Um, and you talk about the fast changing trends. I mean, we're a digital marketing podcast, no stranger to how quickly these things can move in and out. And we talk to our audience all the time about looking at data, looking at how things are working, the response you're getting from your guests, both online and in person, and tweaking, making changes based on that feedback. So, very, very important. But you mentioned consistency. One of the most consistent things I've seen online about your property, Jennifer, is the experience people have at the rooftop, the Bellini rooftop. So, one of the I love this series because I think it gives an inside picture to someone that gets to have this experience every single day. Uh, Myself, some of the listeners might not be able to hopefully we're able to see the Beatrice and be a part of that experience one day. But paint a picture for those that haven't been to your property about what that feeling, what that vibe is. Maybe at a golden hour at the rooftop, at that food and beverage outlet for you.
Yeah, so the Bellini Rooftop, it's a really special place. So it's a private membership club, and as a hotel guest, you have access to that space throughout your stay. So it's on our top floor. Again, we're right in downtown Providence, Rhode Island, and so that view is iconic and amazing in itself. The space, it's extremely intimate. It's a small space, just like the rest of the building. Very intentional. All of the decor is custom, everything from handmade terrazzo floors to wood paneling walls, which were handmade by a local yacht builder in Newport, Rhode Island. So just that in itself, you walk in and it's just, it takes your breath away. It's beautiful. The furniture, it's all designed by Ignazio Cipriani. And so, bright colors, the bar is pink with a gold accent on the bottom. So it's a really beautiful, intimate space. And with it being, a private membership club and, hotel guests having access to it, the level of service is extremely intimate and personalized as well. So you can expect, I mean, our team, they know all of their members by name. They know where they like to sit in the club. We have both indoor and outdoor seating. And, they know what their go-to beverages, they know what their
Yeah.
preferences are. And for our hotel guests, something that we're really big on, you can count on the team knowing if it's a couple celebrating an anniversary or if it's a girls' weekend celebrating a birthday. That is all learned during our reservation process, our fact finding process, and it's shared with the entire team so that we can really have that embedded into our level of service. And so that's a really special place. As I mentioned, indoor and outdoor seating. So this is the time of the year, spring heading into summer, where it really turns into a magical place. You touched on it, golden hour. I mean, we get this beautiful sunset every afternoon up there, and so there's truly no better place to be in Providence than on that rooftop.
Well, you've certainly done a great job of painting the picture there when it comes to that rooftop, and something we're going to talk about next. I'm sure it's a very Instagrammable moment and somewhere that a lot of your guest members are taking pictures of, sharing online, which helps obviously with expand the brand, right, and tell that story that you're trying to get out there. Talk to us. I wanted to compliment you and your team. You guys have a fantastic social media following. If you're not already, go to their Instagram, go to their social media outlets, follow. Talk to us a little bit about the importance of creating a social strategy to kind of set the table for that story that you're sharing. You've packed. We're 20 minutes in. You've packed so much information in this. How do you get that information to a traveler using outlets like social media?
Mhm. Social is so important to us. We put a lot of time and energy into social. We have some amazing partners, Maverick Creative from a PR standpoint, and ABD Agency from a marketing agency. And so together as a team, a lot of resources go into our social. We're very tuned into the importance of influencers and the power that an influencer can have,
Yeah.
both locally and nationally. One of our biggest goals is to continue to get the Beatrice and Providence, Rhode Island on the map nationally. And so doing that through influencers and through lifestyle content, that is so powerful. And I always go back to, everyone is scrolling social media. And so being able to subliminally put on their mind the possibility of spending the next weekend that they want to do a vacation here in Providence at the Beatrice is so important. And the way to do that is, of course, having a beautiful website with still photos and depicting what the guest rooms and the public spaces look like, but really showing what does that rooftop club look like on a Friday night when we have live jazz music and it's golden hour and the sun is setting, and we have a fresh spring cocktail menu that's getting launched. So we spend a lot of time and energy into that, and it really it plays a big part in the success of a property nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, from inspiration to booking, I mean, social media is such a huge part. You make a great point though, Jennifer, that I share with my audience about, those pictures. Sometimes obviously we need to let the guests know what our rooms look like, what our amenities look like. But I think a true, genuine feeling that you get is what that feeling is or that vibe is when there's other people's a part of the Bellini rooftop, right? And so they can almost feel like, oh, I can imagine myself there,
Mhm.
and it doesn't just look like an empty rooftop bar. So there's some things that you can do in order to kind of set guest expectations of like when you walk in here, you're going to see this beautiful check-in area, this lobby. You're going to be greeted by service. I mean, one of the things I most enjoyed when I was behind the front desk was people recognizing me from my TripAdvisor reviews, right? Oh, you're the famous Ryan from the front desk. You know, now you already feel like they're a part of the guest experience is what we're talking about. So, uh, just great points there. The Beatrice has, other than the rooftop, has a number of unique amenities and features. One of those that really caught my eye was the snack attendant package. We've talked a lot about personalization on this podcast so far. Um, for those who aren't familiar, talk to us a little bit about what this snack attendant package is and the feedback that you're getting from guests.
Absolutely. So the snack attention, I will say this really stemmed from something that we saw kind of trending in the guest experience journey of traveling. And so everyone, of course, needs to dine when they're traveling. And so we're finding that yes, having a great sit down meal is still important to travelers, but also that kind of snack in between. And so taking that to the next level, and so our snack attendant package allows guests to add that onto their stay. And so maybe it's a guest that has a late flight in and will miss the restaurant hours on their first night of the stay. They can have this custom snack waiting for them in the guest room. And so we send a survey if they elect to book this snack attendant package. We have our snack concierge, reach out to this guest and run through a survey with them. So everything from, are you a sweet or savory type of snacker? Do you like multiple different items in your snack, or do you want just one particular item? And so we go through these series of questions to figure out what type of snacker they are. And then we come back and we have custom snack kind of packages that we put together and we'll have waiting in the guest room for them. And so it's been a
Right.
really fun addition to the guest experience. People are really loving it. And it's filling that void of, kind of in between sit down meals. And so it's really making something what could be just bland and boring into something really fun and creative. So we're
Yeah.
having a lot of fun with that. Recently got featured in Food and Wine magazine, and so we're really proud of that and look to continue that. And again, keeping it relevant seasonally, we'll be changing that out and coming up with different options for our guests.
Yeah, what a delight that must be for a guest, because I would imagine depending on when you're booking, you might forget that you had done that survey, right?
Mm,
And then you walk in and you see these snacks that you curated for them, and it matches everything that you're looking for. I'm sure that is something that really surprises and hopefully your guests enjoy. But at the very core of this, I think it does something really important. I think you learn more about your guests. And anytime we can learn more about your guests, you can implement into other phases, right? So if you're seeing a big trend with your guests, maybe that's incorporated into your F&B menu, of
mhm,
saying like, we're seeing all these guests really like these sweet kind of sweet treats. Maybe we do some sort of cocktail or mocktail that kind of mirrors that.
mhm.
So at the core of this, again, I think it's really important that you're learning about your guests and implementing these things. So super smart at you and your team put that together. Um, so here we are. We're in the spring, as you alluded to earlier. Temperatures starting to rise up. We're starting to see travel pick up, which is fantastic for all of our hotel listeners out there. Uh, that summer travel season will be here before we know it. That fast summer travel season. What does the Beatrice have in store for travelers this spring and summer, Jennifer?
Absolutely. So spring is a really exciting time for us. We kick off our alfresco dining, so both on the rooftop and on our lobby level, the Bellini restaurant. So that is a huge hit, really all through Providence. Alfresco dining. I think I touched on it, but we partner with the water fire experience that takes place here in Providence. And so we put together a VIP water fire experience where our guests can take the gondola ride down the river and has a little bit of a connection to Venice and the inspiration behind
Cool.
Bellini being our restaurant partner. So it's a really exciting time. Spring menus, we get really excited and motivated about fun new seasonal cocktails for both the rooftop and Bellini restaurants. So we're excited. Everything definitely starts to come alive here in the spring and summer.
Yeah, I love, one of the things I preach to my audience is about collaborating with local businesses. We've talked about the importance of having a local flair in your experience, but, being able to use those local experiences, partnering with them because that's a shared segment that you have, and especially coming back to social media, online reviews, those are places where you might have some references to both, where you could share a picture from that VIP experience. They can repost it, and you're getting kind of some brand awareness. Um, you know, exponential brand awareness between the both
Mhm.
of your businesses. It's a win-win for everyone. So love that you've partnered with some of those local businesses there in Providence. This might be my favorite part of the spotlight series. Some rapid fire questions to get to know you, Jennifer, and the Beatrice a little bit better for our audience out there. So favorite view on property.
Favorite view would have to be sitting on the rooftop in the outdoor patio section, when it's starting to turn to dusk. It's really beautiful out there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, you painted that picture a little bit earlier. That felt like it was a little bit hard to beat. Uh, favorite fun fact about the property?
Favorite fun fact I love to share with people. So, we have a big, grand, long lobby that you walk into, and there's a gorgeous chandelier hanging above the front desk. And so it's a unique lobby, and it kind of catches people dead in their tracks a little bit. But my favorite fact to share with them is that actually used to be an alleyway in between two buildings, and so that was converted into the lobby. And so on one side of the lobby you have the original, back to the historic building, you have
Yeah.
the original exterior brick from that 1887 exchange building, and then on the other side you're looking at this beautiful modern brand new hotel lobby. So that's a really fun fact that I like to share with people.
I'm sure it's a big aha moment, when you're explaining to them at the front desk that you're actually standing in what used to be an alleyway, and then they kinda connect the dots there in front of you.
That's
Uh,
exactly what happens. So
yeah,
it's really fun to see that happen.
I'm sure. Favorite signature dish at the property?
Favorite signature dish would have to be so the carpaccio. And so the Cipriani family actually invented that dish back in Venice. And so they have perfected that, and it's definitely my favorite.
Okay,
You
so
can't beat
you might
it.
yeah, so you're saying uh, favorite dish up there, maybe the favorite view, that probably would be a great combination, I'm imagining, right?
Yes, that
Yeah.
is an amazing Friday or Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I can imagine. Last one, favorite piece of art at the property?
Favorite piece of art? So we have a few great ones, but we have a beautiful mosaic of Beatrice right in our lobby. So it's a handmade mosaic that was made actually over in Italy, and shipped over to us, and it's beautiful. And it's really, again, with that whole experience walking into the lobby between the grand chandelier that's hanging and this mosaic of Beatrice, it's really a special moment for guests when they walk through that lobby.
Sure, and I'm sure a wonderful reminder to your team too. As you practice the service that you do every day of the level of service and expectation and experience you're trying to give to guests at the property. And speaking of this, as we wrap up, being the general manager, uh, I I love to kind of hear in your own words. When somebody walks out, it's that moment where they check out. Invoices paid, all that good stuff. They're about to set on their travels. Uh, when they walk out those doors, what do you want them to say or feel as they walk out after they check out of the Beatrice?
Yeah, for me, it's really about having that deeper personalized connection. And we have so many repeat guests, whether it's they travel to Providence weekly for business meetings, or maybe they have a student at one of the local universities, both Brown University, RISD University, Johnson Wales. They're all just steps from the hotel. So we have a lot of families, a lot of business travelers that come often. And my goal and what I want them to feel like is that we're really making this home for them. This is home away from home. And so that goes back to fact finding about our guests, having a guest profile about where they like to be located in the hotel, maybe what their entree is that they always order when they sit down in Bellini, what type of pillows they like, just so that we can be one step ahead of them the next time they walk through the doors. Our goal is if there's something that they always order or they always request, we want to have that notated so that we can already have it in the room waiting for them when they check back in with us. And so the moment we have that going and they get to leave feeling confident that this is the place they're going to return to on their next travels is really rewarding in what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like you provide such a customized, personalized experience over there at the Beatrice. So congratulations to you and your team on all the awards and recognitions, and hope to be able to make my way up there. And I'll read a couple of those Be About the Town guides before I do to try to make the most of my trip. So, well, we covered a lot in this episode. Any final thoughts today?
No, thank you so much for having me, Ryan.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jennifer. And we will talk to you next time on the Sweet Spot. Thank you.